Hey everybody, welcome back to the crossover for edition 7 of the crossover. We're really getting into it here. We're happy you're with us. I'm Chandler Wilson. You'll have to forgive me this morning. I'm a little bit nasally. I've got a head cold, which is irritating. Who gets a head cold in June? You know, it's frustrating. Hason's with me. Hason, how you doing today?
What up, man? I'm doing all right. How are you?
Well, I'm irritated that I have a head cold in the middle of June. It's 6:02 on this wonderful Missouri morning. John is not with us this week. He's out climbing mountains in Colorado for the week, so he's probably going to listen to this on the way back, I would think. So, John, how you doing? He's not going to be able to answer, but he heard that, so that's good. All right. Hey, since this is just you and me, we might as well just go ahead and get into it. And last night was the NBA draft, so I'll hit you with a trivia question real quick. Are you ready for this?
I suppose.
All right, so what school has the most number one overall picks in the NBA draft? What college?
All time? That's a good question. I'm thinking if it's a surprise, it might be UCLA. Is that right?
No, that was a decent guess, though. The schools that have the most, there's two schools that have the most. Duke and Kentucky have the most, with 3 number one overall picks.
See, of course that would have been my guess.
Right.
But then I thought, oh, well, maybe this is like a trick or something. So, anyway, I should have...
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that is pretty straightforward.
And then there's, a whole lot of schools that have 2 number one overall picks. Kentucky and Duke only have had 3, and then a whole bunch of people have had 2. UCLA's one of them.
Gotcha.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and hit us with the scripture of the day?
Our scripture of the day is brought to you by the Richmond, Missouri United Methodist Church. Open hearts, open minds, open doors comes to us from Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. It reads, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." That was our scripture of the day, brought to you by the Richmond, Missouri United Methodist Church. Check out our youth group during the school year, Wednesday nights at 6.
All right, Crossover Nation, now joining us on the show, we've got LeBron apologist and CMU football player Corey Lukes on the line with us. Corey, how you doing this morning?
Well, I'm doing good. It's a good day to be alive. How are you guys?
We're great. We're happy to have you here. Now, we're gonna get to talking about LeBron here in a little bit. Talk about what he's gonna do this summer. It's on the mind of every NBA fan right now. But first, Corey, talk to us about your experience playing football over there at Central Methodist. The big thing I'm interested in. The 3 of us all played 8-man football. Corey, you and I played against each other for probably 3 years. What skills transferred from the 8-man game that are unique, and what challenges did you have transferring to 11-man?
I feel like football's football in my mind. So, if you can play the game, it doesn't matter if there's 8, 11, 30, 100, it doesn't matter. Football's football. So, but, yeah, I still love the game. I love 8-man, I love 11-man, so, it doesn't really matter. There is, I would say just the speed aspect of it. Speed goes a lot farther in 8-man. I feel like if, a little speed, once you get the edge, it's impossible to stop. So, I guess in that aspect, there's 3 more defenders back there, but really it's really the same game.
Right.
Gotcha. So Corey, talk about, who are some other teams in your conference for people who might not be so familiar with, the different teams that Central Methodist plays against?
Benedictine is one of the more local ones. You got Graceland, Baker. They won the national title a couple years back. And I know Benedictine has a couple 8-man guys on there, so So the NAA or the NAIA is fairly well represented with eight-man guys. So it's pretty fun. You know, I'll do some research on the teams that will be playing that week, and I'll see where the guys are from, and maybe look and see if we played them in high school or if they played at different states 8-man. But it's pretty fun.
Very cool. So I'm a youth pastor, right, at a Methodist church. So how Methodist is Central Methodist?
We don't really advertise our Methodist scale that much, so I don't know. We have mandatory church on Tuesdays.
Oh, yeah, mandatory church, just like God intended. That's great stuff right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So well, go ahead, Chandler.
Yeah, just a quick to interject there. At this mandatory Tuesday night church, do you guys stand and sing boring hymns like most Methodist churches?
Oh yeah, we're definitely into the singing. Yeah, we do that. We do a lot of that.
Right.
But is it like contemporary? Is there like guitars and drums and stuff, or
It's
are
like,
you singing old hymns?
Well, I mean, it's a college church, so I mean they're trying to make it more fun for the college people. To
Okay,
get
that's good. That's good. That's a little more bearable then.
Yeah,
So,
it's guitar. It's actually pretty good music. I enjoy it. So
good. Well, that's good to hear. So, here's a question for you: is the Crossover the biggest sports podcast on your campus right now?
Oh, see, and if it was up to me, it definitely would be. It's definitely the most I listen to, But the Pat McAfee podcast, Pat McAfee show on Barstool, there's a lot of talk about that. But I feel like once I get back on campus and I can kind of advertise for it, I think we can make the exchange from 2 to 1. So I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. That is exciting stuff, and I must say, I forgot whenever I introduced you, Corey, onto the show, I meant to also say that you were one of the generals in the Army for Crossover Nation, so we appreciate that. You've been one of our biggest fans. I mean,
I'm loving it.
We've ballooned all the way up to like 48 followers on Twitter, but you were like right there at the beginning, so we appreciate you being one of the original fans.
Yeah. Well, I'm loving it. Keep up the good work.
Well, we appreciate you stroking our egos. So let's go ahead and let's talk about some LeBron. We'll just we'll open this up. Corey, where's he gonna go this summer? What's he gonna do?
Well, that's a pretty loaded question here. I mean, I feel like he's definitely gonna wait till after the draft. The Cavs just picked up Colin Sexton. And I don't know if that's appealing enough for him. I mean, if I was him, I'm gonna want to go to a place where I know I'm in contention. Yeah, the Cavs made it to the finals, but were they really in contention even?
No, definitely not.
They were until J.R. Smith got that rebound in Game 1.
Yeah. Game 1,
I
was thinking, okay, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
wow.
That will always be one of the biggest what-ifs in NBA history, I think. Like, what if J.R. Smith realizes the game is tied, kicks it out to LeBron, or shoots a baby hook or something? Like, that'll always be a huge what-if. But that's a whole nother can of worms,
Yeah. Well, it seems like after that, like, it's almost like they didn't even care anymore. Like,
and how could you?
Yeah. If they played their best game, one of the best games they played all year, and they still can't beat them, then pretty tough.
Yeah. Side note here, I saw that J.R. Smith Game 1 jersey is up for auction right now, and I think that they were up around $17,000 for it was the current bid, but that was this morning, so I'm sure that it's quite a bit higher now.
It's probably the Warriors organization.
That's what I was going to say.
Probably so.
They're gonna put it in their building.
They'll hang it in the rafters right next to their championship jersey or their championship banner.
They're gonna retire J.R. Smith's jersey for the
Oh man, that would be awesome. So you don't know exactly what you don't have a. Do you have a top pick for what team you think LeBron is going to go for?
Well, I do not want him to go to the Lakers personally. I am not just. I mean, growing up, obviously arguing with every Kobe fan about LeBron versus Kobe, I just grew to hate the Lakers. So I really don't want that to happen. But I do think if he could get Kawhi and Paul George, then that's gonna be a pretty appealing place to go. But if it was me, I mean, I think the Rockets and the Sixers are like. I mean, the Sixers, you got so much talent on there, so much talent on that team. And I've been hearing talks about them trading Markelle Fultz, and maybe getting another shooter, another perimeter scorer. And they're so young and so talented. I mean, Ben Simmons is LeBron's little protege, and if you get both of those guys on the same floor, yeah, Ben Simmons can't shoot, but I feel like if they're both on the same floor, they're both of those guys are specimens, like huge and big, strong, fast. Like I think that offers so much. I mean, how do you stop? Like even the Warriors, who's going to defend that?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the Warriors historically have had trouble defending size like those guys. Like they get in trouble because they run that small ball lineup all the time, and they just get pounded in the post.
Yeah, I think that'd be an interesting matchup. You take the Warriors against Simmons, LeBron, and Embiid at the 3, 4, 5. I think that you've got really kind of a lightning versus thunder kind of game. That could be really interesting.
Yeah. Think about this. What if last season the Sixers would have drafted Jason Tatum instead of Markelle Fultz?
Which they should have done.
How LeBron would have already signed, wouldn't he? I assume.
Yeah, it's hard telling. I mean, it's just it's hard to consider all the ramifications of that. Because, I mean, honestly, probably Philadelphia beats Boston in that series, and you're looking at Philadelphia-Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then, what does that end up looking like? Does Philadelphia or Cleveland end up winning that series? If so, how does that impact LeBron's decision? I mean, you're looking at a lot of things there, but, I mean...
Do you guys think he wants to stay in the East?
Yeah, I don't think he's going West.
Well, I've heard a really interesting thing that if LeBron, say he goes to Houston, for instance, I've heard a really interesting thought that Adam Silver, as soon as he possibly can, if that happens, whenever the next collective bargaining agreement is going to try to do away with the East-West playoff format, because obviously you don't want, 4 of the best 5 teams to be playing each other in the, whatever the divisional round of the Western Conference playoffs. You want the 2 best teams meeting in the finals, and that hasn't happened really for several years now. They've all been out west, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Well, I'm sorry, my internet is going wild on me, so I've been getting notifications. This is the first I've been on the laptop for a while, but I apologize. But yes, I feel like that would almost. I feel like it might even make the regular season more, because people just bench their starters in the regular season, and if it's just a 1 through 16 format, then I feel like that'll give them definitely a lot more reason to play.
Yeah, I agree with that. I gotta say, I think regardless of what happens, that's probably what will happen at the next collective bargaining agreement. I think that, Adam Silver will end up doing away with that probably. It'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. We could talk about what the new NBA is going to look like. But it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't think LeBron's going to go out west. I'm with you, Corey. I don't think he'll go out to the Lakers. I just don't see that happening. I don't think that team is a team that can compete. The only other place that is even realistic, I think, is San Antonio. But I mean, San Antonio is a dumpster fire right now too. So
I don't think Pop and LeBron like as good as coach as Pop is, I mean, I don't think him and LeBron would. I mean, you've seen it. LeBron will just go off on his head coach, and I don't think that him and Pop would really mix well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. LeBron
definitely
definitely needs to be the alpha in the locker room, and I think that's a good point. That might not go great there in San Antonio.
Yep.
Corey, any chance he stays in Cleveland? Do you see that happening?
I, as a longtime LeBron fan, I would love to see him stay in Cleveland, but I do think they're going to need to make a trade with somebody and figure something out to get him some help. Because, like, he's the type of player that he's got to be able to compete, and they haven't set him up to compete.
So, Corey, I've got a question for you. So this is kind of a legacy thing to sort of piggyback off of that. So I've heard, like, I think Jalen Rose say on Get Up or whatever that, like, he thinks that LeBron is above going and teaming up with another group of stars at this point in his career. Just with the player that he is, you know, he's definitely top 5 of all time, probably higher than that. Like, you know, he's supposedly above that. Like, guys should want to come play with him in Cleveland rather than him going and joining another squad. So just speak to that a little bit. I mean, does it kind of hurt his legacy? I mean, it seems like he's kind of darned if he does and darned if he doesn't. Like, if he stays in Cleveland, people are going to say, oh, well, he's just basically rotting there. Like, they're not going to win a title. He could have gone somewhere else and got more titles. But if he leaves, people are going to say, oh, well, he just went out and title chased, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I got to put myself in his shoes. I mean, if I'm LeBron, everyone knows already what he can do on the court. I don't think he's going to do anything in his 17th year that's just going to change his legacy. I mean, you're either think he's better than Jordan or you don't. Like, there's at this point you're not going to change, I feel like. So, I mean, in his mind, he wants to go win as many titles as possible. And the way, like, Tristan Thompson has a max contract. Like, the way the Cavs ran, I feel like LeBron is better than that, almost. And I feel like if he has to get out of Cleveland to compete, then he's going to do that, whether that changes his legacy or not. Because his legacy is you either think he's the GOAT or you think he's behind Michael or Kobe or whoever. So I feel like that isn't going to change that much after in a 17th season or whatever he's in. So I mean, everyone already knows what he can do. So now it's kind of just on him to whether he goes and tries to get rings or whether he, you know, stays in Cleveland and is even more a part of the city of Cleveland than he already is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a tough spot for him to be in. That's for sure. You know, people are going to be critical no matter what he does, and you know, obviously he wants to win, and he's probably not going to do that in Cleveland. But if he goes anywhere else, he'll be a villain. So it's a tough spot for LeBron to be in. That's for sure. But also, he's the best basketball player on earth. So you know, I don't feel that bad for him.
Yeah. I don't think he's just getting a lot of sorrow there, but. What if he went to Boston? How do you think Kyrie would feel about that?
Kyrie would demand a trade. Yeah. Probably would.
I can't get away from this guy. Like a crazy ex or something.
Yeah, didn't they bring that up to him, and he was just like, oh, I don't know, we'll just see what management decides or something like that. Like, he's basically, he didn't say he would be receptive to it.
Right.
But the Celtics have one of the 1 through 14, if not the best roster in the league. Like, they are so talented. That's if Kyrie would have went somewhere else, I feel like that would be the most appealing place to go.
Oh, yeah, sure. and well coached.
Yeah, Brad Stevens is a crazy good coach.
Absolutely. No doubt. Well, we're all excited to see what happens on July 1st, and I'm looking forward to it, and I know you guys are too. Corey, you want to give a shout out to anybody out there in Crossover Nation this week?
Yeah, I'll just give a shout out to the new number one fan of the Utah Jazz, Ben Shiflett. I mean, he's loving I guarantee I just saw it on the TV like 30 minutes ago. I guarantee he already has a jersey ordered. So just shout out to Ben, even though he didn't shout me out. Still salty, but that's fine.
I got a Snapchat from Ben that was of his Grayson-Allen jersey, and said, "Thanks for the memories. Excited to see what this next chapter brings us." So he's pretty excited, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna feel bad for him in 2 years when he's playing in Italy or something like that.
Yeah,
won't we all?
I'm not going to feel that bad for him, but I know what you mean. So, all right, Corey, thanks for joining us, and hope you have a great weekend, man.
Yes, thanks for having me. It was a blast.
All right, thanks again, Corey, and sorry about all those notifications he was getting, folks. I'm just assuming that once his circle found out he was on the crossover, that his notifications just started blowing up, because, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes, you know. So we're going to start talking about the NBA draft now. It was last night. Very talented draft pool. Lots to talk about there. We're going to try to cover it pretty quickly, though. Hasten, any overarching thoughts about the draft last night?
Well, just a really, really talented class. I thought, the lower first round, like picks like 17 through like 20 were all really good picks. Well, I better go ahead and say 17 through 21 for Ben Shiflett, who I know is out there listening, because Grayson-Allen went 21 to the Jazz. So I think, I think everybody in that first round pretty much could have a chance to just have a really solid NBA career. I'm just impressed with this draft class, so it'll be interesting to see how things kind of play out in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll just say I think the Suns had a good night.
Yeah.
I think the Mavericks had an interesting night. They got both Luka Doncic and well, I guess they drafted Trae Young and traded him, so I guess that's how they
right.
got. So it'll be interesting to see how that all kind of plays out. It's interesting whenever, guys get drafted then immediately get traded. So
yeah, you're totally right.
So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. I don't know. I think it was just interesting to see how it all played out, and it'll be fun to watch this class this year and the next couple of years. So
yeah,
who do you think the biggest steal was? I imagine we'll have the same answer for this.
Well, I know that you're probably going to say Michael Porter Jr., and I think that is a very good possibility that he is. I had a couple more names that I thought I might throw out there. Dante DiVincenzo, or however you say his last name. He was the Villanova player. He made a huge splash in the tournament. But I mean, this guy, he has like a 44-inch vertical, if I remember right. Just insane potential upside. Then Lonnie Walker, the fourth out of Miami. It's so funny that the Spurs drafted him, because he's got a huge salad on his head for hair, and he just does not look like the clean cut, lunch pail guy that the Spurs are used to drafting. But if the Spurs, are patient with him and everything, he had a few health concerns, but he was a possible lottery pick not all that long ago. So he's at that level as far as talent, kind of like Michael Porter Jr. was, but had a few health concerns. But I'm just saying, if he's got time to develop in San Antonio, they're not going to force him into anything, and he could wind up being the steal of the draft.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like both those guys that you mentioned. But yeah, for me, it's got to be Michael Porter, and I mean, I'm biased because he went to Mizzou and I love him, but you know, if he can stay healthy, he's got potential to be the best player in this draft, and that's saying a lot because it's a loaded class. So you know, I hope he can get all those health concerns figured out and just have a great career. You know, I'm rooting for that guy for sure.
I also really like Chandler Hutchinson out of Boise State. I actually watched him play because, you know, sometimes when I'm up late, there's Boise State basketball games on during the season, and I can't stop myself, so I watch him. And I knew about him from a long time ago. Is just very impressive. Granted, he was playing at Boise State against whatever Mountain West competition or whatever, but still, he's a stud. So we'll see how he does in Chicago.
Yeah, should be interesting to see. All right, so here's a question: what are the Hornets doing?
Oh gosh, I don't know how to answer that. They are, in a word, a dumpster fire. Maybe that's 2 words. I'm not sure if it's hyphenated. That doesn't really matter. The point here is they traded away Dwight Howard this past week, which in a sense, they're trying to move away from the luxury tax line, but it's like they're expecting, I don't know, that a free agent's going to sign there. Like, they're not. That's the reason you move away from the tax line. And so they traded him away for Timothy Mozgov, who hasn't done anything since, like, the 2013 NBA Finals or whatever it was. And they got 2 second-round picks next year, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know if that's totally right. I don't have any notes in front of me or anything, but Dwight Howard had basically a career year last year. He hasn't put up those kind of numbers in 7 or 8 years, I don't think. So he really had a career resurgence, and you felt like, you know, between him and Kemba Walker, they had something kind of going where maybe they could, get a couple more pieces and actually be in contention. I mean, that sounds crazy to say, but I don't think that they're that far away. And then last night they drafted the Kentucky point guard. I'm going to just take a shot at it here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm pretty sure that's how you say his name.
Sure.
And I guess that they traded him to the Clippers. So I don't know. This is all very confusing whenever you look at how they traded and stuff. Yeah, I think they wound up with Miles Bridges, which I guess is that he went to the Mavericks. I don't know. Your NBA analyst here is kind of confused on what exactly happened with all the drafting, but I don't understand what Charlotte's doing. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, they got Miles Bridges.
They did? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I kind of like that pick then, but I still don't understand the Dwight Howard move because I feel like you get him with Howard and Kemba Walker, like that's a pretty good thing to build on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Dwight Howard's aging. You know, he's not going to have very many solid years left. So, you know, I think if you're making room for yourself to try to do something in free agency, it's not a terrible move. But yeah, I don't mind it as much as you do. So, just real quick, I mean, we talked about him a little bit. You know, I think probably both our favorite player in the draft is Michael Porter Jr. out of Mizzou.
No doubt.
What do you think about him going to Denver? What do you see there?
I mean, the whole thing is how's his back? You know, how's his back, how's his neck? And if both those things are good, we saw him come back, which I thought was, you know, just so gutsy to come back and play in the NCAA tournament. He obviously was not totally healthy, obviously was not totally in basketball shape at all. I mean, he literally looked like what I look like whenever I get an invitation to go play in a pickup game after 3 months of not playing basketball. Like, he looked like he was dying out there. And it didn't help that Mizzou had like 7 active players in the tournament by that point, so he couldn't really get any rest either. So he didn't look great, you know. But he still, even without looking great, he still scored like 16 points in one NCAA tournament game. So, I mean, the talent's never been questioned. His ceiling is Kevin Durant. I mean, his floor is just be a solid player. I mean, I think that Denver got a steal no matter what. He's got value, but we're just all hoping and praying that he's going to be healthy and that this isn't going to be something that shows up in 3 years after him being in the NBA. You don't want to see his career hampered by injuries the whole time.
Yeah, I agree. The back is so tricky. I mean, back injuries are nagging and long-lasting. But, yeah, I think he's got the potential to have a great career. Yeah, I like what you said where his ceiling is Kevin Durant. I totally agree with that. I mean, he could wind up being one of the best players in this league, or, injuries could keep him down, and that'd be just a shame. But, that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, one thing about it, you could never question the talent.
Yeah, absolutely. He's incredible. I mean, we both watched him play even when he was in high school there when he was playing for Tolton Catholic in Columbia. So even then, I mean, he, as a junior in high school, almost sold out Mizzou Arena for, a high school basketball game, which is, I mean, the hype around him's always been there. So hopefully he can stay healthy and put it all together and have a great career. I'm certainly rooting for him. So, but yeah, just overall, great draft class, and I'm excited to see kind of how it all pans out. You never really know who the superstars are going to be out of a draft class, so it'll be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, it will. I'm excited to see. I'm just really excited for this upcoming season. And, most people are going to be like, well, if LeBron stays in Cleveland, it's going to be Cleveland and Golden State version 5. I don't really worry about that because I like to watch the young talent develop. That's not going to be true forever, regardless of what happens. So yeah. I'm really excited to watch these young players grow.
Absolutely, me too. All right, folks. Now it's time to cover a little bit of golf for all you middle-aged white men out there listening to us. We've got our golf analyst Seth Phillips on the line with us. Seth, how you doing today?
Good. How are you guys?
Living the dream.
Doing good. Yeah, living the dream. For those of you who don't know, Seth is big, he is bald, he is beautiful, he loves golf, and we are very excited to have him on here with us.
Absolutely.
I'm telling Haston that this is absolutely the biggest day of my life. It beats getting into vet school, it beats the first day I had Casey's breakfast pizza and the birth of my 2 dogs. This is the biggest day of my life right now, so... Thanks for having me on.
That's not even an exaggeration. I'd say you're exactly right. This is the most important thing you've ever done.
Easily.
Yeah. And will ever do.
Ever do.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm glad that you're as hyped for this as all of our guests should be. I don't think that people understand the magnitude that the crossover actually pulls.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a worldwide phenomenon.
It is. With our 12 listeners, our nation is growing mightily. All right, Seth, so let's get into this here.
Yeah.
So here's a surprise trivia question for you. So Brooks Koepka's girlfriend, I don't know if they're married, whatever she is, she actually appeared she's made guest appearances in 3 TV shows that my wife watches and in a movie. Can you name any of the TV shows or the movie that she was in?
Ooh, now I gotta go back to think what Katie watches. I know it's stuff that I wouldn't watch, so I don't know if I know it. I'm gonna say Gossip Girl.
I actually think that it was Gossip Girl. I didn't write down the TV shows.
One
of them was Vampire Diaries. I think the other one was Gossip Girl. One was Dexter. But the movie was the one that I was thrilled about. She was in Sharknado 5.
No.
Wow.
So she's clearly on her way to the big time with Sharknado 5. I don't know how big of a role she played in it. I have not yet seen Sharknado 5. I kind of lose track of which one's which because they're all basically the same movie. Not to say I don't love Sharknado, because I do, but I'm not a super dedicated fan, I guess.
Yeah, they're all the same masterpiece, is what I
Right, yeah.
say.
Well, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Okay, so Seth, here's what I want to do with you real quick. So just for like 30 seconds each, I'm going to give you the name of a different golfer on tour, and you just talk a little bit about like maybe what they did in the U.S. Open or just how their season's going so far. So first, 30 seconds here. Let's talk about Phil.
Give him 60 for Phil. Give him 60 for Phil.
Yeah, Phil is man, Phil's kind of complicated. He's making cuts and he's doing well, but like, you know, his U.S. Open putting was atrocious. I mean, absolutely atrocious. He just couldn't get the ball in. But getting there, he's fine. His game, you know, is where it needs to be. He got his first win on tour this year in, I can't remember. It's been 4 or 5 years since he's even won on tour. He's been close, but hasn't won in a while. But he won this year, and he's been in a few top fives, I believe. But Phil's just having a good year. He just needs to piece it all together.
So if you had been Phil, would you have, instead of hitting that rolling putt, would you have just pulled out your driver and just cranked it into a pond somewhere?
Oh yeah, I don't even think I would have messed with the driver. I think I probably would have taken a sand wedge and took a chunk of the course with it. I'm I guess more cynical than that. I'd take part of the course with me if I was going down.
Yeah, that blew my mind. All right, Seth, talk to us for 30 seconds about Tiger. What's going on with Tiger?
Cool. Tiger, he's struggling. You know, he's coming back. Obviously, this is his big comeback, and he does well at times. And I think he just has yet to play a full tournament, a complete tournament. Obviously, he missed the cut this past week, and his putting has kind of been off. But most of his other game has kind of been there. So Tiger's just, I think he's frustrated. Tiger's and all the fans are frustrated.
Yeah, sure. A lot of people keep picking Tiger to win every week, but yeah, I just haven't seen him put together a full tournament yet. You can see the pieces are there. So
yeah.
Do you think he's going to win another major?
Personally, I don't. I just the field right now is just stacked with a bunch of young talent that can just launch the ball. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas. I mean, it's pretty stacked, and you know, they all grew up watching him and idolized him, and you know, now he's chasing them, which is kind of cool. But I personally don't think. I think he's done with majors.
That's interesting. All right, so talk about Ricky Fowler. I mean, is this guy the coolest person on earth, or what's the deal with him?
He actually really is the coolest person on earth. He's laid back. Believe he's a Christian, actually, which, you know, I don't think you can really get any cooler than that.
Team Jesus.
And he's actually been he's pushing his way towards the top. He's won. I mean, he's I don't believe he's won yet this year. I might be wrong on that, but I know he has like 10 top fives. I mean, he's just killing it. He had a terrible last day, Sunday at the U.S. Open this week, or this past week, but Ricky Fowler's actually going places. He's going to be the next superstar.
Has he won a major yet?
Yeah, he won. Oh, no, he hasn't. Sorry. No, he hasn't.
Okay. I knew he's won tournaments, but I didn't think he'd won a major, so.
Yeah, he's come close several times.
Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about this year's U.S. Open champion, Brooks Koepka.
Oh, Brooks is just a bomber, really. He wasn't at the top. Dustin Johnson led for the first 3 days. He was the only one negative after the cut was made when the weekend started, but then kind of fell off on Sunday. He was +3, I believe. But Brooks just kind of had a solid round. Shinnecock Hills is, I got some of the course specifics so you guys kind of understand how tough this course was. It's 7,440 yards, which is pretty long, and the average width of the fairway was only 41 yards.
Wow.
So it's pretty narrow, and instead of having just normal rough, that's usually where I play, it's all fescue rough, which means that it's all the long snagging grass. So basically, if you didn't hit the fairway, you were going to struggle to even make par, which is why you saw such high scores. I've been a golf fan all my life. No, I haven't. But I don't think I've ever seen a cut at +8. That's 8 over par, that's pretty stinking high.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question. This sounds almost ridiculous to ask, but in your opinion, because it's professional golfers, for crying out loud, they do this for a living, but was the course at Shinnecock Hills too hard?
No, because I like to watch them struggle like I do.
It humanizes our heroes.
Yeah. When Tiger Woods is shooting scores similar to yours, just kidding, I still will never shoot a 75 or whatever he shot. Oh, on Thursday, on his opening day, he shot an 80, and I have yet to shoot an 80 still. But anyways, no, I like it. I think it's humbling for them, and it makes me feel better about myself.
There you go. It brings out the love-hate relationship that we all have as we're playing a round of golf.
Absolutely.
That's good.
It's the most fun you'll ever have being mad.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good way to look at it. So, I'm like 90% sure on this one, but not totally. Is Dustin Johnson still number 1?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
so what kind of separates him?
Or the week before, yes.
Okay.
Dustin Johnson, what separates him from the rest of the field is consistency, in my point of view, or in my opinion. That was a weird way to say it, but in my opinion, he can play full games and finish, which is, it seems like that's kind of what you need to do in golf, but not everybody, like Jordan Spieth missed the cut, had a terrible 2 days at the U.S. Open. Now he turned around and now he's -7 at the Travelers Championship and he's leading it. He's holing out shots on bunkers and he goes up and down. Dustin Johnson just stays pretty smooth. He's still up there right now. I gotta look up the scorecard, but I think he's within the top 10 at the Travelers. But yeah, he's just super consistent, which is kind of what you need, to win on this tour.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say consistency is probably the toughest thing to have as a golfer. So yeah, I think that definitely sets DJ apart there. Seth, thanks for your golf coverage. You want to stay on for the rest of the show with us?
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't think of anything better to do.
We'd love to have you. We're gonna hit some over-unders real quick and then wrap it up. So, Seth, before you got on, we were talking about last night's NBA draft. So, my question for you guys: multiple-time All-Stars, so 2+ All-Star appearances. for guys in last night's draft, and the line is 4.5. What do you guys think? Last night's draft class was very talented. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But the line for players with multiple All-Star appearances in their career, the line's 4.5. What do you think?
Hasten, why don't you go? Because I don't know anything about the NBA.
This is tough because you kind of alluded to it, Chandler. Very talented draft class last night. It's just interesting to watch the NBA evolve. All of the big men pretty much coming out now can dribble and shoot. So you think that, just the way that the NBA is kind of trending, that like that's going to be something that, is going to be significant, because eventually in the NBA's evolution, the guys who are bombing threes like Steph Curry are going to be 6'9", 6'10". And I think that some of the players who are in this draft class could actually be that at some point. Maybe not quite shoot as efficiently as him, but there's some shooters in this draft class. With that being said, though, I'm going to take the under just because statistically speaking, I would say it's unlikely that many stars pan out to be multiple All-Stars. Like, I think that there will be 5 that make at least one All-Star appearance, but to do it multiple years in a row, especially with, last year's draft class being as talented as it was, kind of surprisingly almost. I just think players are playing longer these days, and it's a popularity contest. So, I don't know. I'm going to take the under.
I'm actually going to take the over. I believe that there are 3. So, in my limited NBA knowledge, I believe that there are 3 that have a chance. Maybe not the first year in their rookie year, but, their first 3 at least getting one, and that's the guy from Real Madrid, Luka Doncic. Is that his name? How you say that?
Yeah, Luka Doncic. Yeah.
Luka Doncic, yeah. I believe he will, in his first 3 years, he'll have at least one. Mo Bamba, right?
Yes, yeah.
Mo Bamba is just on popularity alone, with all of his blocks and, his shooting, and this is all from watching SportsCenter, so this might not even be correct, but I believe he will be a stud. And then Trae Young, just because I know his name, I'm going to say that he's going to – so that's 3. So, I mean, they have to be good if I know their name. That's all I'm saying. They have to be really, really good.
Fair enough, yeah.
So if I know their name, then I can name 3 off the top of my head, and then there's got to be 2 sleepers somewhere. So I'm going to take the over.
Oh man,
that's honestly not bad logic there, Seth. I was torn on this. I don't really know, but it's hard to get multiple All-Star appearances out of somebody, so I'll take the under. But I bet they have at least 5 All-Stars in this draft class, maybe more than that, but I think to say there will be 5 guys who have multiple All-Star appearances might be a bit of a stretch, so I'll take the under as well. All right, next one, free agency. NBA free agency is the next big thing there in the association, and obviously the big one is we're talking about LeBron. We talked about LeBron earlier in the show with Corey, and so the question is, how many legit LeBron sports media articles will be written by the start of the NBA season? And the line is 999.5. What do you guys think? Definitely over, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would say I'm going to take the over on this one too. It sounds like a lot, but whenever you get every JV sports media outlet such as the Crossover interested in what LeBron's doing, because especially this summer, because there's always articles about what shampoo product LeBron uses and all these ridiculous things that nobody cares about. But with LeBron, there's going to be articles written up to when he makes his decision about what he's doing in free agency, and especially if he leaves Cleveland and goes somewhere else, then there's going to be a bajillion articles about him.
Explode. Yeah, and so this was this is my. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Take the over. But this is my over/under question, and I'm like, if I just open up my ESPN app, and so I'm thinking just ESPN alone, there's gonna be probably over 1,000 before the NBA season starts. So, yeah, this is all I see is LeBron everywhere.
Yeah, it's gonna get annoying real quick, but it's just part of the game. So, all right, last over under here. As we mentioned, our comrade John is out in Colorado this week. So, guys, over under 7.5 times that John fell while mountain climbing this week. 7.5 is the line.
I'm going to, obviously, because I know John quite well. And John, as we say, is an acquired taste. He gets excited about things. He likes to run around. He likes to jump when he's excited. It's very extra. It's
I'm a dog
extra.
like that.
Yeah. John can be like that in a way where your dog gets just so hyper that they just don't know like their own strength, and they just like start falling into things and knocking things over and singing. Well, I guess your dog doesn't sing, but John sings. So I'm taking the over. In fact, I'm going to double it at least. 15. 15 times John fell this week.
Yeah. Seth, what do you think?
I struggled with this. I don't know John personally, but I'd like to, think he's pretty athletic. But, man, Colorado's kind of tricky. Plus you got, the secondhand smoke from the marijuana, so you might be a little ditzy. The
True.
higher altitude, so less oxygen. So I'm going to have to take the over. Sorry, John.
That's okay. You were way nicer about that than I was in your reasons why you took the over.
Yeah, it's Colorado's a tricky place. It's like the Shinnecock Hills of hiking. There's just, there's
Way
not
to bring
a
it
whole
full
lot.
circle.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and say definitely the over. I'm pretty uncoordinated, but John, I think, surpasses me in that aspect. So, yeah, hard over. That's my answer.
Hard over.
I don't know about the surpassing. I don't agree with that, but I'll agree with the over.
Ouch.
Oh, gosh.
All our guests have to get in at least one personal dig at me. It's just the tradition now. I understand. All right. Well, with that and my pride being hurt, we're gonna finish up the show. We're gonna do some shout-outs. I'll just go ahead and go first. I'm shouting out to Nicole Clark, who is out in Colorado with John. I'm sure she's had to watch him and take care of him and feed him, similar to what you would do with a dog. So we're glad that Nicole's taking care of John. She makes him very happy. And really, I'm just shouting out to Nicole because John was trying to solicit my shout-out, so I would give him a shout-out this week since he's not here. But I am not about to do that because, I don't think he would do the same for me. So, Nicole, shout-out to you. Way to go.
You're very
Nice.
brave, Nicole.
Yeah, she is. She's a brave woman. My shout-out this week is going to my friend Justice. He is a grad student with me, and he is from Malawi. He's probably going to be on the show at some point because he is literally the only person I know that knows or cares anything about soccer. So, shout-out to Justice. He's a baller.
Go Justice. I just want to point out that Haston told me I was going to be his shout-out like a couple weeks ago.
That's true.
Told him,
That's true.
And it never came through.
That's true.
For some reason, the lady that was stuck in Vietnam was more important than me. Last week, Dad was more important than me. So I kind of don't want to do a shout-out because my feelings are hurt.
You got to come on the show in lieu of getting a shout-out.
Which is actually, way better. So you're right. I appreciate that very much.
Is it though? Is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah. All right. I didn't think so.
But my shout out is actually going to go. I can't believe I'm doing this, but to Katie Wilson.
Wow.
Hastings' wife. Hastings was just bragging on her and saying how hard she's working, and she's doing a ton of other stuff, which being in vet school I can appreciate. I'm trying to work in school and teach. Oh, I don't teach, thank goodness. But so yeah, shout out Katie Wilson. I was also telling Haston that I was probably one of the people that gave him the most crap about Katie, and now I'm dating a redhead named Katie, which is that's humbling. So apologies, Katie, for giving you such a hard time in undergrad, but shout out to you.
Funny how things like that happen. I was probably also the person who gave Katie the most crap, and now I'm marrying a redhead. So, funny how life happens that way. So,
that's
anyway,
karma, boys, right there.
That is karma. All right, folks. With that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up our show. Thanks for joining us this week, and we'll catch you next time on the Crossover.